Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Field of 68's last call.
What's your go-to Applebee's order?
I don't go to Applebee's. We actually call it Crapplebee's, to be honest.
Who's the better team right now, Creighton, Marquette, or UConn?
What are you doing? What is that? Pray for Fanta. Oh, come on, Zach. Here we go. It's last call.
All right, it's not closing time, but it is last call here on Field of 68 on Stadium exclusively. We're talking all things college basketball. Thanks for being here. I'm your host, John Martin, joined tonight by college basketball coaching veteran and college basketball analyst Matt McCall, joined tonight by North Carolina Tar Heel legend, NBA vet John Henson. We are taking all your questions on college basketball. I know we're only a week or so in. I know Feast Week's coming up next week. We're taking all your questions. It's never too early to break down college basketball. So let's get to it. Matt, the first question is for you. What is your take on the Atlantic 10 beat three good teams today? That comes to us from Joe.
I think the Atlantic 10's in a really good spot. I mean, I think – George Mason's off to a good start. I think, GW is good. You never can count out them with James Bishop, arguably the best scorer in the league. That was a huge, huge win for Dayton. I thought they had chances versus Northwestern. They just didn't pull the game out. And to win that game the way they did, being down a lot in the second half and to fight back, I think St. Bonaventure is a team that could win the regular season in the Atlantic 10, and I think the Atlantic 10's wide open. So how about Davidson? I don't think people are talking about Matt McKillop in year 2 taking over for his dad, who's a living legend, and what they did in Asheville. They go in, they beat Maryland. I mean, that style of play, playing against them, it's a difficult style of play to play against. So the league is good, and they're going to win more games. St. Louis knocks off Wyoming. Nobody was giving St. Louis any opportunity or chance this year with everything they lost. I mean, they lost the best passer of the basketball in Yuri Collins ever in Atlantic 10 history. So the league's great. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And once these teams start lining up and playing against each other.
John, feel free to weigh in on that as well. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it earlier.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's on point. 8-10 expert right there. So they're a force to be reckoned with, and they're gonna make some noise come March and down the stretch, man. They always are somewhere in the mix during the tournament, spooking cats or winning games.
Matt, did you grow up just saying, please one day, please let me just be known as the 8-10 expert?
8-10 expert.
I don't know if I ever woke up one day saying I could be the 8-10 expert. I think just going through those battles for 5 straight years. And I know this guy gets talked about, but I don't think he gets talked about enough. Like Eric Reynolds, man, at St. Joe's, like he is that guy. I mean, he's as good as guard as anybody in the league. He's got size, he's got feel. Billy Lang, with his NBA background, puts him in spots to be successful. He put him in high pick and roll, side pick and roll. He can get down a lane. I think one of the biggest, and John, you can tune in on this because you played in the NBA, like a good guard from a great guard is a guard being able to read where's the help coming from. So if I come off a middle ball screen and the help is coming off the guy that's in the corner, can I drive down the lane and skip it to the corner to the guy that's open? That's the guy that's helping. Like, he can do that. Like, that's hard. That's not an easy thing to do. Like, as a guard, have your head up. I mean, Yuri Collins was better than anybody at it. Where's the help coming from? And I think that guy, Reynolds, man, he can do it.
Yeah, a guy that can, essentially when you're a guard at that high level, as you're talking about, where you can skip, you can make the passes, you can make the plays, you're manipulating the defense. And I think that's what makes a guard great in the NBA. Chris Paul can manipulate the defense. Hey, I'm going to drop it off here. Next play, corner. Oh, corner's going to be taken. So he has shades of that. So he's definitely one of those guys that can, kind of take over a game with just how he makes plays for others and himself.
We're here on Last Call on Stadium. We're taking your questions in the chat, so feel free to send them in, and we will get to them when we can. On, fellas, will Providence be ranked come Monday? This is from Kim English is him. Matt.
Shout out. Yeah, shout out
Is Kim English the one that's sending the question in? Is it actually him, or is it's just someone that says Kim English is him? I think we gotta, look, the game versus Kansas State. I think we're gonna get a real feel for how good they are. But I mean, they have the job. I mean, how they played against Wisconsin. I mentioned Tennessee in terms of that. I think Kim English, his energy, how he is as a coach, to be able to go in there again, another difficult situation to take over for Ed Cooley. I mean, Ed Cooley turned around Providence basketball. I know Providence fans were upset that he left, especially for another job in the league. But, I'll never forget, I was at Florida in 2006 as a director of basketball operations, and we went in there. There was nobody in there. And then I had to go in there when I was at UMass, and, man, the dunk was rocking. And Cooley, changed the trajectory of that program once he got there. So to see Kim English go in there and have immediate success, I think they should be ranked. But I think that Kansas State game, you're going to really see how good they are then.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll. I don't know if they will be ranked come Monday, but if they keep on this trajectory, they're going to crack that top 25. Shout out to Kim English, by the way. Same draft class. We were in the same group breakout and rookie transition camp for the league. I could have told you he would be successful. Just sitting in that group with him, he was always giving insightful answers. He was always saying the right thing, doing the right thing. Some guys took it serious, some didn't, and he was the guy that took it serious. So I am not surprised. Ed Cooley did leave him with a wealth of talent and a program with an identity. So that's also a good thing. I love that he did that for Kim, being as a friend of mine. So, yes, I think Providence is the sky's the limit, but I'm a little biased, man. I love Kim, man. So I hope he does well. We're going to give him a lot of time, Matt. Just a lot of time.
For sure, no question. Well, he's already earned that. I mean, the way they looked against Wisconsin the other night, I mean, that was as impressive to me as it gets, especially for a first year coach at that job, no question about it. Okay, moving on here, and again, if you got questions, send them into the chat. John, who are the bottom feeders in the Big 12 this year?
Let's see. We don't necessarily know what Kansas State is going to be. They're okay. Texas Tech, I don't know how they're going to do. I mean, let's go down the list. 12. Well, Texas A&M is in the SEC. I'm sorry. So they're not. Yeah. I keep thinking they're in the Big 12. I don't know if we call anyone bottom feeders yet, man. It's early. Like, we're bottom feeders. We haven't even seen them play. Some of those teams play bigger, high level teams. But as of now, I'm going to stay away from that, man. I don't want to call teams bottom feeders right now. 2 games into the season, man. Jesus, who's that? Bard Music, man.
Bard
relax,
Music, yeah.
Relax.
It is the easy answer, Matt.
I'm with him. You know me. Like, it's too early right now. It's too. We don't even know who's gonna rise to the occasion. To call somebody a bottom feeder. Okay, we're not. Too early. And the league. I mean, who was at the bottom of the league last year? It's Texas Tech, but you look at them. They're historically they're always been. I think he's a really, really good coach in Grant McCaslin. I mean. That guy, what he did at North Texas, man, that guy can flat out coach. And they play a style that's very difficult to play against. So, too early to call anybody a bottom feeder right now.
I would put John Henson's NBA earnings on UCF being the bottom feeder. That's it's an easy answer. They're the new team in the league, right? And they weren't good in the AAC. God help them in the Big 12. Is all I can say. And that's okay, but it's going to be a tough go. All right, when we come back, we're going to pick a Maui champion. We're going to get into who's the best conference. That's right. We're going to get into all of that on the other side. I'm John Martin. I'm here with McCall, John Henson. Last Call exclusively on Stadium. We'll be back after this. And welcome back to Last Call, Field of 68. We're here exclusively on Stadium. Going for just a little bit longer. We're going to be answering your questions here on all things college basketball. All is fair. Whatever you want to know, let us know in the chat, and we will get to your question. Okay, Matt, we're going to get into the Maui here. Who do you think will be the champs of the Maui Invitational?
Well, first of all, it's I know they're playing it in Honolulu this year, and I mean, it's not going to look the same. Hopefully, it gets back to Maui and everything that they dealt with there the following year. But man, I'm taking the Boilermakers. Like I said earlier, I think their team's on a mission. People forget that they were ranked number 1 in the country last year, I think, for 7 straight weeks, and they lost in the first round. They lost 1 game. That doesn't mean that, if they would have played Fairleigh Dickinson, I really believe this, 3 or 4 weeks earlier in the season, I don't think the game would have even been a contest. And that's not a knock on Fairleigh Dickinson. It's just me thinking that Purdue's that good. So I'm taking the Boilermakers out in Hawaii.
By the way, I mean, is this the juiciest slate we've seen in a long time? I mean, it's going to be some heavy hitting games. On paper, I guess I'm going to go Purdue, but it's a tournament, and I like Marquette. I like how they looked the other day against a really good Illinois team. So I'm going to say I love Purdue on paper, but I wouldn't be surprised if Marquette makes some noise. Shaka Smart loves these underdog kind of we don't get talked about enough roles, and it's happening again this year. Even in this tournament, they've got to be licking their chops and saying, okay, well, Kansas and Purdue, even Gonzaga and Tennessee, like they're supposed to maybe beat us, or if we do lose, no one's going to be surprised. Let's see if we can make some noise and go get us one, or even get to the championship or take down one of these heavyweights.
Yeah, like for example, like Marquette's 5-1 right now to win the Maui. That's something that interests you. Hammer. You guys both picked. You guys both
sprinkle. I'm sorry.
Sprinkle.
I forgot we got
responsibly.
Sprinkle.
Yeah, you guys both picked the second, the third and fourth favorites. No love for Kansas, huh? It's too chalky to pick the Jayhawks. Is that what it is?
Being that I have been in the unenviable position of being number 1 preseason, it's tough. It's tough. Teams are going to give you their best shot early when you still haven't figured things out. So I think Kansas is going to have some tough games down the stretch. I don't think it's going to be indicative of what they are or are not in the championship race, but these teams got to be licking their chops to get at Kansas and win games and put their names and make some noise nationally.
Can you imagine if it does end up being a matchup of Kansas versus Purdue, and you've got these two big guys that both played against each other in the league for so many, for last year and previous season, and now they get to face each other in Maui. But I think Kansas uses Hunter a little bit different than Michigan did at times. I think, not that he didn't shoot a ton of threes, but Bill Selfs gives him the freedom to play more on the perimeter, and then he can go down there and mix it up on the inside. I think I want to see that. I want to see, what does Kansas Hunter Dickinson versus Zach Edey, like, what does that look like compared to what we've seen in years past?
Are we going mano a mano? Are they going to go mano a mano? Coach, are they going mano a mano? Stay no help? Let's do it? Is that what's going to happen? I would love that.
No, it never happens like that in college.
As a big guy, that never shrink the floor.
Exactly.
Dig.
Yeah, man. I was just saying, that would be awesome just to see those guys. Hey, drop it down and hey, go to work, big fella. That would be awesome. But probably won't see that, man. They'll probably get it out of Zach Edey's hands because I think Dixon probably would get into foul trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on here. Start with you, Matt. Is there a case to be made that the SEC is the best conference? This comes to us from Danny.
There's definitely a case to be made. I think if you look at last weekend, and I'm just using last weekend because I was in studio for Peacock, and I watched both these games with Jordan Cornette and Josh Pastner. I mean, what Texas A&M did to Ohio State, and I think Ohio State's a really good team. I think Ohio State's going to win a lot of games this year. I think Ohio State's going to be in the NCAA tournament. Bruce Thornton's a great player, but man, Texas A&M, Wade Taylor, I mean, he is that dude. I mean, the plays he was making coming down the stretch of that game, he had a really bad first half, didn't do a lot of scoring, and then he took the game over. So you've got A&M. We've already talked about Tennessee and Dalton Connect, Kai Ziegler, Vescovi. I mean, they've got an unbelievable team. So you've got those two. We've talked about Kentucky, the growth of the young guards. Do they get any of those 7-footers back? You've got Alabama. I mean, where do we stop? Chris Beard at Ole Miss. Does he have the talent maybe some of these other two? Not yet, but we know how good of a coach he is. He's won 1 million games no matter where he's been. I think Florida's obviously shown some improvements. South Carolina's a better team. I'm getting ready to call their game tomorrow night, about a half a mile behind me. They're off to a good start. They knock off Virginia Tech. So are they ahead of the Big East? Oh, probably hard to pick them there, but man,
right.
I mean, I don't know if we could pick any league above any league right now, but the SEC's got to be in consideration, especially what they did last weekend in terms of knocking off those two Big Ten teams.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was in school, we never even talked about the SEC. Now they've kind of risen to the occasion, man. Of we haven't even talked about Arkansas, who's picked third in the preseason poll, right? That's a team that we haven't even spoken on. Kentucky, for the first at least 20 minutes, gave Kansas all they wanted the other night. So it's going to be a fun year in the SEC, and we don't know if we can call them the best conference in the country, but definitely can make an argument. And Wade Taylor's my favorite college player, so I love it.
Yeah, man, you ain't that old, bro. You trying to come on here to act like you're 74 years old. When I was in school.
Did you hear what he said? He said, "I have not heard of Facebook in a while." Listen, when I was in school, it was like Kentucky, and then we didn't really speak about anybody else, right? Now, this
whoa! Come on now!
Who am I forgetting? Who am I forgetting? Florida. You're right. Florida. You know what? Florida had. I don't know, man. I didn't really hear much about Florida from 2010 to 12.
Two titles.
2010 to 12. Brad Beal was there. Went to the Elite Eight.
Brad Beal and Kenny Wooden could get along, man.
We didn't get along. We went to the Elite Eight.
Wait, did I play with Brad Beal? Did I play? Okay,
we don't have time to relitigate this, man. We can't fix this. We can't fix the 2012 Florida Gators tonight. All right, we can't do that here. We can talk about who the next coaching legends might be. The next generation will do that when we come back. Last call after Doggone Stadium. Back after this. All right, welcome back to Last Call with Field of 68. We're here on Stadium exclusively talking all things college basketball. A few more questions before we get up out of here. Matt, this comes to us from Big East, man. What's your favorite Feast Week tournament?
So I saw last night's show, and Chris Mack talked about the battle for Atlantis. We played in that one time at Florida. It was not the greatest experience in terms of games. I think we lost in double overtime to Georgetown. We beat UAB, and we lost to John Henson's North Carolina Tar Heels. So to say Coach Donovan was unhappy would be an understatement. We never got to go out to Maui when I was at Florida. I think they went out there one time. And the travel back, coming back to Florida, Coach was never a big fan of that. I love all the tournaments, man. Something about playing in Madison Square Garden when you'd go up there for the preseason NIT or the 2K Classic, or there's a million different of them. The tournaments are great. The venues are great. Feast Week is, and we talked about this on the Field of 68 before, trying to get more buzz on the first week of college basketball season. But when Feast Week hits, college hoops is here, and people are now tuned in and dialed in. I think they're all great. Never really had a bad one as a head coach either, whether I was at Chattanooga or UMass. Those MTEs early, and you find out a lot about your team. It's really, when you get into the MTE and you're playing against better competition, you find out a lot about your team, and that's what you need to do in November, and then start preparing in December and get ready for conference play.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I don't really regret a lot or miss. I really missed not being able to go to Maui. It was when I came in, they had just went the previous year, so I wouldn't have been able to go to my senior year. So it would have been bittersweet because I would have been there my senior year, which would have been bad news, right? But the memories that Coach Williams always talks about Maui. Like he all the guys, the teams that did it, won the championship that won it. Like there's so much lore in where I went to school at about the Maui Invitational. So that's one tournament that I've just always sit back and just watching all. Never ever been to Hawaii, so that's just another thing as a college kid. Like that would have been a fun experience for me. So I'm gonna have to go with the easy one, Maui. It's more so envy than anything, man. I wish I could have got out there and played. Because if you think about a tournament that people are watching, I think Maui might be the highest watched tournament in the season, barring the March Madness, obviously. But I remember sitting down with my parents and sitting down with my friends and family, and we just got the games going, man, and they're just rolling. And there's heavyweight after heavyweight. That gym, unfortunately, not playing in this year's small gym. You get to see the buzzer beaters. You get to see the highlights, the history. So that's probably the best thing for me, the Feast Week, man. Definitely wish I could have played in that. I think about that a lot, honestly.
Wow. Okay, a couple more to roll through here before we get up out of here for the night. With recent coaching retirements, who will be the next coaching legends? That comes to us from Jimmy. Matt, I mean, everyone, right? Every single person is Kenny Payne. You have to start with him.
Jeez, man, this guy. You know what? I mean, I look at guys like Tom Izzo, you know, and the stress of the job, the daily grind, the preparation, everything that goes into it. He's accomplished so much as a head coach. I look at Patino, and you watch him on the sidelines. That guy is energized. He's into it. He is coaching every single play like he's 35 years old back at Kentucky. So I don't know. You know, is it Tom Izzo? Is it a John Calipari? I mean, I think it's just one of those things when you not lose, but when your passion, your drive, and it's time to kind of take a step away. I don't know who it is, but there's Bill Self just signed a lifetime contract, so I don't think it's him. But
Yeah.
I think a guy like Tom Izzo, I think Michigan State could have a good year, and maybe he's the next one to ride off into the sunset and come join us over here on the media side of things.
Also, shout out to Bill Self getting that. Oh, wow. Okay. Shout out to Bill Self getting that. If you break any rules clause, I mean, that's kind of cool, right? Like you still keep the job. But I'm gonna have to go. Maybe Jim Larinaga. Is he? I don't know. I don't know if I had to choose a guy.
He's great.
So
He's great.
hopefully he doesn't yell at me. I'm actually mad. I'm gonna be doing my first game as an Ellis December 16th down there. So hopefully he doesn't get angry at me. So that'll be fun for me. And but yeah, I think Jim may be the next guy if anybody. If we had to choose. So I wanted to play for him too, man. So I love him as a coach, man.
I'll give you one more too on the same lines. Leonard Hamilton, the job he's done at Florida State. I mean, he's always been great to recruit. He's won 1 million games there. Two legends at their respective schools in the state of Florida, as the two Floridians are talking here on this one.
Yeah,
I love
no question
that.
about it. Yeah. Well, here's the good news. College basketball is just heating up. We are going to have so much more to talk about. Feast week is next week. The games are going to be off the chain, and we're going to be here breaking it all down all season long on the Field of 68, on After Dark, on Last Call. So make sure you don't miss it here on Stadium. For Matt McCall, for John Henson, I'm John Martin. Thanks for watching.